welcome to the Camp Corner. Today I will be interviewing another extended member of the Lakeside family. Jeanne was going to be on our summer staff this year for her first time as a counselor. She does not have, obviously, the experience of working on staff, but she does have her passion for God and her passion for camp to share with us today. So let's go meet Jeanne. Hi.
Hello.
So to get started, tell us a little bit about you. Who is Jeanne?
I'm a girl who loves to be outside and loves to be with friends and just enjoys spending time with God's creation, I guess.
Awesome. So what are some of your hobbies? What do you do when you're not in school?
Ooh, I am a runner, so I love running. I also enjoy going on bike rides and swimming, and occasionally when I get the time, I like to read.
Awesome. So those all sound like really fun things that are also related to camp. So that's kind of cool that those things are tied into kind of the job you ended up applying for. Do you have any hidden talents?
Ooh, I don't know if this is hidden, but I was actually in color guard, so I know how to spin a flag.
Oh, wow, cool. So I was a music student in college, and one of the things we had to do, we had to take a marching band course.
Mhm.
And one of the crazy things about being a music student is there's way too much to learn in not enough time. And so our course we only met for an hour once a week. And we had to learn everything we needed to know about leading a marching band, which involved color guard. And we had two classes on color guard. And one of those sessions, we were taught how to twirl and all that stuff. And it is way harder than anybody who actually does that makes it seem.
Yeah,
So
every year we have a spinathon, which is just basic drop spin, so it's going in a circle. And afterwards, often the band members will let them try to spin a flag, and it is hilarious.
I'm sure it is. It was when I took my class, we were actually in a building with really high ceilings that often gets cut through. People walk through all the time, and I'm sure we looked ridiculous because we were all awful at it. Um, but that's really cool. I didn't know that about you. Um, so tell me a little bit about your previous camp experience. Have you been to Lakeside before?
I have not been to Lakeside. I've actually never been to a summer camp. However, my brother went to a Riverside, which is a different camp, and I never got the opportunity to go, but I have been involved with VBS, being a part of VBS and then leading VBS. So
Oh,
it's a mini summer camp, I guess.
yeah, well, we actually do similar to VBS, we have a congregational day camp program. So we send some of our staff out to churches to um, basically lead churches' vacation Bible schools. And so people who have had experience volunteering with their own congregation's vacation Bible school usually do really well at camp too. I guess I didn't remember that you hadn't been to camp before. I was thinking before your interview, I was like, I think that she has not been to Lakeside before, but I couldn't remember if you'd been to a different camp. But for anyone who's watching who is thinking about applying for a summer job at a camp, don't be dismayed by the fact if you haven't. We've had staff in the past who have not been at camp before and they do really, really well. So no worries there. Tell us how you came to the decision to apply for Lakeside.
Yeah, so I had heard about Lakeside for the first time in my high school youth group. Paige came and visited us. So I took a brochure with me home and then I thought about it for a while and had different ideas of what my summer was going to look like. But I ended up applying. I wasn't sure I was going to be old enough because my 18th birthday happens to be right at the beginning of camp. So I didn't know if that would work out. But so I emailed Paige and it ended up I was still going to be able to come to camp right when I was actually praying about my summer. So it was like a God moment. Her email came and I applied to camp then.
Awesome. Yeah, Jeannie and I talked about how God was definitely moving in that, in her decision making and the timing of it all. And often in my conversations with people who end up working at camp, there is definitely some miraculous timing in everybody's decisions. So that's really cool. Tell us a little bit about the hiring process. So you decided to apply, and then what happened from there? What was the application like? What was the interview process like? Things like that.
Yeah, so the application was pretty much what I expected. It was just about me, my past experiences, and how it was pretty expected. And then since this year, obviously, we're not actually at camp, and we couldn't be in person, had a virtual interview. So the interview process was also online. So that was my experience.
Yeah. Was there anything on the application or any interview question that surprised you, or that maybe you weren't totally expecting, or maybe just something that stood out to you?
There were a couple interview questions that were fun and not really related to camp as much, but just kind of fun. So I wasn't expecting that.
Can you give an example of what one of those questions was?
One of them was another use, or why a tennis ball was fuzzy on the outside. So
Yes, that's one of the questions. I like to end my interviews with a fun question. Camp is a fun place, and I like to be able to see people's creative side. So that's why those questions are thrown in there. That specific question, I don't know the actual answer to. So maybe I'll put this video out there and someone will be like, here's the real answer. So I'm fingers crossed. Hopefully that'll happen. For anyone who is thinking about applying to Lakeside in the future, do you have any suggestions or tips, or maybe just some words of encouragement for them?
I would just say be excited, and thoroughly excited, because so I've actually never been to camp because this is going to be my first year, but just the genuine excitement for camp made the process fun rather than stressful.
Good. Yes. I love that. That's such good advice. Yeah, the excitement for camp. I think that definitely makes the whole process, the application and hiring process, so much easier, because you have this big reward at the end. You get to spend your whole summer at camp. So even though you didn't get to work at camp this summer, has Lakeside had any effect on your faith?
Yes, it has, because this is a crazy time we're in. So we've still been connected virtually. And so having that structure and having the community around me, my faith community is now, Lakeside is a part of it. So it has built my faith community.
Very cool. Thank you. So just a little explanation of that for people watching who don't really know what all goes on when camp isn't happening. So we've decided to still try to support our summer staff who would have been here this summer by providing them with virtual worship and virtual Bible study and some fellowship time. So Jeannie has been involved with that, and it's been really fun to get to know you, Jeannie, because although it's been in like a weird way, because we've only met in person the one time, and I must admit it was after a very long week for me. And so my memory of first meeting you is pretty fuzzy, but it must have been a good enough memory for you to decide to reach out and apply eventually. But so yeah, we've been able to connect and get to know each other, and I am very grateful for the gift of technology and our ability to, like you said, grow a faith community. And that's something that Lakeside's all about. We're all about building relationships in Christ. So it's very heartwarming for me to hear that you're experiencing that, even though you didn't get to be here in person this summer. So thank you. A friend of mine, her like go-to question for people to answer is, would you rather be a doorknob or a blade of grass?
I think I'd rather be a blade of grass because then I get to, right now it's super windy behind me. Might be able to see the trees, but then I can experience the wind and all the elements.
Very cool. I think that speaks to your enjoyment of God's creation. So that's really cool. So we'll end with that question. Thank you again so much, Jeanne, for meeting with me and for being willing to still continue Lakeside's ministry, even though you're unable to be here. So I thank you for your commitment to Lakeside.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. What did I tell you? Jeanne is awesome. On our next Camp Corner episode, we will be cooking an entire meal over the campfire. Don't miss out. It's going to be real tasty. Thanks for joining me today on the Camp Corner. We'll see you next time. Bye.